that painting terroristic anti-Christian state, which is the current leader of purported Israel, as God's people, when God's people is neighbors, horribly are residing on the front lines of a genocidal slaughter against God's people, that they're bombing innocent women and children in purported God's people's country. What implications of Nazis who studied brain pattern and media consumption for hundreds of years in order to, and by the way, using mass experiments and slaves as guinea pigs in order to figure out how precisely exterminate a nation. I was fighting over who's actually God's people or not. You're clearly winning. In addition, I'm coming out with one of the biggest news stories in the history of humanity, that we're actually been under a Babylonian coup by purported fallen angel reptilians that walk around as human beings and human being clones. And if anybody wants to write a book, because this is all true, I've seen it from my own eyes. Creatures were simply second nature muscle memory to them. Spawn a human or semi-human race. When God spawned creation, God started out as the tribe of Judah. Did it on Mars. That's in part how Mars fell. They're going to do it here. They already got a Venus plant penned out. Quoting Hebrews 7:14. For it is evident that our Lord was descended from Judah, and in connection with that tribe. Moses said nothing about priests. The entire mutiny, just part of the deception going on. 99% of the people were so deceived that to even find out the question of the particularities involved with the religious deception, including the Holy Bible itself, further begs the question. If we are all each hooked up to a supercomputer mind satellite in the sky that collects all our stuff, spiritual warfare in thine heart and thine soul, no one outwardly consents to a terror genocidal war against innocent women. But the beast, however, is hooked up. Like Esau was Jacob's exact twin brother, one did get to inherit the birthright. Clones look like humans. These clones are soulless. Whenever there's a soulless initiate that walks amongst that I fret, that is a painful and arduous condition. It attracts demons innately. They didn't even need to MK Ultra demon into it. Those purported Israeli soldiers, that Nephilim, they're creating these super soldiers against God's people, are raping and hanging babies. And inside information that I received from my deep throat friend Linda, who was inducted in the CIA, of what I'm doing, because I've been worried about domestic violence against children and working on these underground tunnels trying to free them. I appreciate those blessed individuals that understand the implication of purportedly consenting, whether you know it or not, how the beast, and albeit the NSA agents that are interpreting your codes, those are your hidden brain patterns, brain waves that are interpreting, spawning or inspiring warfare spirits. Are all hooked up to the cloud. It is and everyone's formal and informal spirit is powering the beast against burning God's children. Your prayer to free not just the beast, but God's innocent people is farly underscored in both the Bible and media and talking with your friends and over the dinner table. It is an everyday battle to understand that spirit, that can set that beast free, free God's people. It's in the mind. Prayer, knowing thyself. Who needs war? This war is we don't deserve this. This generation, I've seen suffering, loss, genocide, poverty, war. The actual reason that they started this war was to end the warring. How does a war end the war? It's just more war. That seems to not care as much. I can't speak for anyone in particular. Knowing that God's people are empaths in part, knowing that you're painting God knows what in the media for God's people to see, interpret, and try to sleep at night, probably because right now God's people is suing the de facto government, Donald J. Trump, several former United States presidents, CIA, every CIA director since 1981, and I have to amend it to include Department of Defense. I recently found out that the Navy actually approved funding carrying out terror psych wars against civilians in 2006. How it blows everybody's mind. Well, how did they figure out how to take over the world like this and get everybody microchipped? Stargate, they're freely printing out the money. It's not about currency anymore. This has been about children and child sacrifice. God's people, God's land, the earth, planet Earth, people on the earth, God, the angels, we all deserve better than that. Now, God's higher than the cloud, but God's interpreting how you're looking at it just the same almost as the AI satellite. It is beyond food for thought. I am working on bank language to help free the nation, and as soon as I can. And I appreciate your prayers to help free those innocent babies, women, children, families, stop the war. It's in here to meditate. Meditating is key to free the beast. Love is key. It says love is wins out all other entity. Love is the answer. To transpose and meditate on love and love continually. Their money is valueless. 1933, our grandparents and great-grandparents were declared enemies of the state and forced to fork over their gold in exchange for valueless debt notes, bond notes, just bailing yourself out of a sinking boat. And as soon as I could get this beneficiary trust bank law language that will free that country for the next very many generations to come, as long as we can stay Babylon free. And I'm sorry, I'm really distracted by what's going on in the media. And I prayed, if I can, imagine that the media is full of fakeness, that they actually have reached peace out in the Middle East, although I don't want to ignore those screaming babies that I hear when I'm not working. I hear their screams. It's hard to sleep. You're my friend and family if you can. Meditate on love. Free the beast from its warfare spirit mode. And help release those innocent babies and children from dying anymore. That's all they need. If those soldiers if those beast soldiers, purported soldiers, stand down because the energy of monotonous warfare is dropped from its soulless clone, demonically possessed, empowered body, then Netanyahu doesn't have a choice, even though they should remove him from office and have a new leader propose that peace treaty ceasefire with the Palestinian leader. Thank you for your prayer. If they are slaughtering innocent women with children, and it's in part pursuant to who in the heck is consenting to that's okay. If we're all hooked up to a sky satellite in the cloud. And now that's pursuant to 1 Corinthians 10, 1 and 2. And uh, that's also pursuant to my research on cognitive liberties, neural weapons. And it's something that I have largely considered in the past. And asking a clear bestial criminal such as Netanyahu, the president of purported God's people Israel, and what are the implications of falsely painting an anti-Christian nation God's people, and holding on to that clear anomaly. Meanwhile, the true and actual God's people are its neighbors. And what to ask Stargate, and Stargate will almost self-build this destructive mess itself, especially with minds as bright as the all-seeing eye, Elizabeth. And one by, if this truly is a spiritual warfare, woeful creation / mess. So my interpretation is, not only does God consider the flesh, which he explains to Elijah, and it's all written in code so that no one would know except 1 or 2 individuals in the entire universe at one point in time, and heap it all on that one person so that they're the only one that sees it. No one else is aware. And people can just call you crazy because, hey, you saw that in a movie, didn't you? Even though conveniently the movies are actual documentaries. That he explained to Elijah, God believes your flesh is clothing. And since everyone is unfortunately and terroristically hooked up to the cloud that I impart and I shared in my other video, the cloud is a code word for sky satellite mind computer. It collects all our stuff, where this is actually truly a spiritual war.